Giridvaradari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Jaya Girivaradari Jaya Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Gopinata Radha Pinata Shri Radhe Jaya Radha Pinata Radha Gopinata Shri Radhe Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Jagannatha Jaya Baladeva Jaya Shubhatrama Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Om Shripat Param Sapriyachashva Sri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Kori Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Thakur Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Gopinath Ki Jai Jagannath Baldesa Uttara Ki Jai Gaunitai Ki Jai All glories to Assembly All glories to Assembly All glories to Assembly All glories Shri Shri Guru Guru All Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai Arvind Prabhu. Just check if it's writing. Yeah, I got it. I have some. Prabhu. Fan. No, just the fan. Just the fan on. Yeah, that's good. So Hare Krishna everyone, welcome to the Devotee Care Sunday evening class. So just on the update from the Devotee Care program, that we've actually formally named the Devotee Care program as Caring Folks. And the Folks stands for Family of Lord Krishna, and then the S stands for Sydney. So we will continue to call the Devotee Care program as Caring Folks initiative or program. Today we actually finished or completed the 4-week training program for the first set of mentors or buddies who have been identified. And we also, as part of the training program, we also introduced in the training program, this is being the last one, software to actually manage the mentor and mentee relationship and how to manage the data side of it. And we're kind of releasing in phases the software so that we get used to it and people start using it. So a mentor can register himself in the software, and he or she, when they have members of their or mentees added on that, they will actually can view the mentees that are out there, and they can actually send messages from the software. They can action something, and also there is online or system-based way of putting your sadhana sheet, like your everyday chanting of rounds and reading and hearing, and it's amazing because before we used to, when we actually started the pilot program of Devotee Care a couple of years ago, it used to be an Excel sheet where you need to fill in and then send it over on the week or once in a week, but now it's online, and it's amazing tool. So we've launched that as well to the first set of devotees, the mentors, and then they will start adding the people who are there guiding as mentees in the system, and then slowly we'll progress. So it's a small steps we are taking for a bigger cause, and I really like to thank all the mentors and mentees for making time for the last 4 weeks from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And many of them have family commitments, preaching commitments, and work commitments, but they still made it. I'm very happy, and as behalf of the mentorship committee team, we really appreciate for them to making the time. So today's class or talk, it's about a study or a methodology I came across while doing my compassionate care course, and when I read it, it felt it would be really beneficial for devotees to know. So I thought I would have a short presentation of it. I myself learning a lot, learning, reflecting, and then again learning and listening to other podcasts and other things in YouTube. I'm getting more understanding as well, but it will be very beneficial for you. So that if you want to search in the YouTube or other places, you can search for Karman Drama Triangle. So that is where you can find some videos in YouTube. So first, before we start, we need to understand, and it's that sort of philosophy says as well, we are not human beings seeking a spiritual experience. We are actually spiritual beings having a human experience. So that means that we are capable of a lot more than we actually think we are. Sometimes we kind of limit ourselves and don't achieve our full potential, and there could be different circumstances. And sometimes we have this circumstance or viewpoint where we feel like we're restricted. But if you have this viewpoint of having a way where it's not restrictive, it's open, and when we know that we have a lot of opportunities for growth and to explore different things, then it actually creates a much bigger spectrum for us to achieve a lot of things. So in this drama triangle, there are 3 players. So I'll put a triangle first. So the first person is the victim. So the victim is the first player, and the second player is the persecutor. And then the third player is the rescuer. So within these three personalities, the interplay between these personalities can give us a big insight on how we deal with anxiety, fear, and our inner state when we come across head to head with another person with a different opinion. So now let me tell you that some of the characteristics of a victim, okay? I'll just keep my notes here so I can. So a victim, as the words suggest, they think they are powerless, right? And the normal way the victim thinks are basically they're kind of oppressed, they feel they are helpless, they feel ashamed, they feel powerless, and they feel that they are at the mercy of the situation of life, and they have to just flow on and do what everybody else is doing. So they feel that they can't do anything on their own, and they're quite scared of taking responsibility for their actions, and they feel like I was restricted, a prisoner of circumstances. Now, and they also feel that they actually can't actually solve any problems. So their philosophy is life sucks, and they have this mentality of, oh, poor me. I am being in this situation and I have no control. I'm helpless. I'm the helpless person here. They have this attitude. So now coming to the persecutor, this person, as you know, is kind of, you can say, the aggressor. So the characteristic that person or the people who have those who act in that situation is they're very controlling, they're blaming, they're very critical of situation, they're very oppressive, they're angry, very authoritative, rigid, they feel they're superior, and they're very self-righteous. So, end of the day, their way of thinking is all the time, it is your fault. Whoever it may be. And so this victim and persecutor is, the victim feels he's the poor me. And for him, this persecutor is the aggressor. He's the one who's actually making him feel oppressed. So he's the one who's blaming, who's being very rigid, who's being very aggressive, very angry, oppressive, and anything that happens, it's always the victim's fault. That's what the relationship between the persecutor and the victim is. Now the third person in this drama triangle is the rescuer. Now the rescuer, what does the rescuer do? He is how can you say, he thinks he's a savior. So this person doesn't like conflicts. So he doesn't like to upset people, and he wants to fix the problem, and he wants to save others, and he feels that if he saves others, tries to help others, then he could be the others would basically appreciate him. And he is kind of a classic enabler. He will help you. Like if you say something, he would want to jump in and help you, which is very good. It's very good. So we are having this mentorship or this caring folks program where we're trying to see how these things play out. Now, this situation, now this persecutor doesn't have to be always a person. This persecutor, it could be a person, it could be a situation, it could be a natural disaster which has happened, like a pandemic. So anything could be a reason for you to feel, or us to feel like a victim. So suddenly now it's COVID, pandemic. We might have some people would have lost their job. So they feel like a victim of that situation. And because of some circumstance, like because they don't have money at that certain point of time, or because they feel that I'm constrained, like, I have so many dependents to take care, so I can't actually be free in my life. I can't do things that I want, and they might feel that situation being a persecutor. So this is how the drama triangle works. Now the point to understand is a warning is the victim. It's called a triangle, drama triangle, because the victim is actually not a victim. He thinks or feels that he's a victim. That has to be that's a very important point. He actually is not a victim, but he feels like a victim. Now, there are other situations where people would be in a very abusive relationship. There could have been assault that's happened, and there are other people who are actually manipulating that person wantedly. So those side of situations, and some people might have a mental disorder or something like that. So that is not covered. So for that we need to get professional help, and we need to reach out for help either in a legal way or in a therapeutic way. That is real victim position. But here is the victim feels like a victim. He's not a victim, and the whole triangle starts with somebody feeling like a victim. Now let's look at a situation where that can actually play out. Okay, and one thing is, once you understand this, you can understand how that you have a choice. Okay, you have a freedom. Nobody can push you into this victim or this drama triangle, being a persecutor, rescuer, victim. And you choose to play that part depending on the situation and the way you see life and the way your needs are being met. So, for example, I give you a situation where in an office scenario where a manager comes and tells to one of the employee, that we have a deployment to make, or we have release to, and you have to stay late today, being Friday night, but you have a choice. If you don't want to, you can say no, but you can choose to stay if you want to. Now, it's up to that employee to decide whether he wants to stay or not. Now, he might say, just so that he doesn't want to be the bad books of the manager, he says, that's okay, I will stay. I'm happy to stay. And the manager says, okay, fine, and these are tasks that you need to run the script and blah, 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 whatever it is, and if there's any issues from the client side, then you need to fix it and everything, and the manager walks away. Now, he's done the job and everything, and now he feels that he's been a victim, that he's made to work long hours on a Friday night when all the other people have gone. He had to stay back quite late and then finish the deployment or the production, or make to the production. And then he might reach out to a rescuer who might be his friend, and he might say, like, this was so unfair, I need to work on that. Now this rescuer, because he wants to fix the problem, he wants to help that person, he wants to help this person, he might say, how bad it is. That is so bad that you had to work long hours and you were not given prior notice, and it just came up in a very short notice, and then you ended up staying when everybody else is off
the office. Now, what happens here is that employee here, when you think about it, he's not the victim, because he had a choice whether he had a freedom to choose whether he wanted to work that day, late night, or no. But he chose to. But then he's not a victim, but he feels like a victim. That's where it comes into his feelings matters, because it's a drama triangle. It's a feeling. Now, when he feels like victim, and for him, who's the prosecutor? Prosecutor is the manager. And now, who's the rescuer? The rescuer for this person is basically his friend. So in this scenario, what happens is the persecutor, which is a manager, he doesn't even know that he's actually been the bad guy. Because because this employee said okay, so he thought he's happy to do it, but he doesn't know that he's actually in this triangle, he's the bad guy. And then his friend, just to please him, he's again taking on his side and not giving the right information, but then all accusing the manager for actually making him stay. Now I'll give you another situation as well. Now let's say in an exam, somebody fails an exam, a student fails the exam, and he feels that he is a victim, that he's failed, which is not fair, isn't it? Life is very hard, it's been hard done, so he feels that that's not fair. He's made to fail. So the student feels like the victim. Now what can he do? So whom can he put the blame on? Or in sense, whom can he feel that who's actually being very the controller? It could be either the professor or the exam system as well, or the exam, the way the question paper was actually designed, that it was really hard to pass. So for him, he could have different persecutors, which could be his professor, or the exam itself, or it could be the timing. Like for example, he might have felt sick at that time, or he was not feeling well, things like that. He could choose anything. Now he has to find a rescuer. This is normally what we do. We do. So this person goes again to a friend. Now if the friend, in the rescuer mode, if he thinks, oh my God, that's so unfair. How can they set the question paper so hard? Or the professor was not lenient in the way that he corrected the paper. He's been unfairly strict with you. Or I've always known that he used to always corner you in the class. So he would have had other agendas, or he would have you were not in his good books, and then so he would have failed you. Or the exam itself was an unfair exam, depending on the way the question paper was set. So this person is actually this friend is trying to comfort thing, but he's not giving the right advice. So what happens here is he's actually feeding into his insecurity. Now if this happens even the next time, he might fail again, and he might still blame it on someone, and then this friend will again support him, and this triangle goes on. And what happens is this rescuer is not helping him. So that's why it's called a drama triangle, where this victim is not a victim actually, and they need somebody to put the blame on, and then somebody who's a rescuer who wants to just avoid conflict, just want to fix the things, just tries to be the nice person. Now the problem with the rescuer is that is sometimes they are. Now this is where the devote or the caring folks initiative comes into play. So now we have somebody as a mentor. We don't want that mentor to be in a rescuer mode. So the rescuer, what his thing is, he wants to fix things. And he feels empowered when somebody comes to him to ask for solution. And he spends all his energy, because that's what is feeding him, right? It's just like a psychological need, that all his energy in fixing other people's problem, and eventually what happens is he wouldn't have time to fix his own problem or look at his own sadhana if you say it in our spiritual way. So he's got a lot of duties to perform, he's got a lot of people to take care, and then he wants to fix their problem, and he puts all his energy into it. And then sometimes what happens is this rescuer might give a suggestion to this person, a student or a devotee or whoever. Because he is in this frame of mind, the victim whom he is actually trying to help might not listen to him, might totally not do the actions that he wants the rescuer to do, and he might feel that he's unappreciated. And he will very quickly go to a point where he says, why they're not listening? And then he will go into this phase where I'm helping everyone who is helping me. And you know what happened? This rescuer, at this point, when he's thinking that whether he might be talking to this person or this person, but they're not, let's say if he's going to mediate these two people, and these two people are not listening to what he's saying, and they are kind of going away from his advice, and there could be a situation where the victim and the persecutor can go to another rescuer to get their their problem solved. So what this person will feel, I am the nice guy here, I tried to do so much good for these two people, but they did not appreciate my help, and they're going to someone else, and this person now feels like a victim. So he starts feeling like a victim here, because he put so much energy into helping these people and everything, and then now they've gone to someone else. Now what would this person do? He, being a victim, he will try to look for a rescuer. To basically help him with this situation. Now if this guy is a victim and he is actually going to another rescuer, who becomes the prosecutors? It's basically these two. The victim and the prosecutor whom he was actually helping, or in case, let's say he is dealing just with the victim, now this guy will become the prosecutor. Because this guy is not listening to him, and he's gone to someone else for help, and all his hard work is undone. He needs help, so he's going to rescue her. So this whole drama triangle is like how you call the vicious cycle of birth and death. If you have this mindset of rescuing, and if you have the mindset of victim mindset, where even when you are not the victim, you feel that you're a victim, and you see that the situation or a person or some natural disaster or circumstance as the cause for you being the victim, then this will keep on going on. Now, with this one, you have nothing to solve. Nothing gets solved. It only goes on and on. And this is where a classical example I would say is somebody who's a rescuer, may say a preacher, right? You go to a person, you actually start preaching to the person, and that person uses you in one way. You help him a lot for him to come to the temple, to chant and everything. And after 3 months, he ditches you. Or he doesn't turn up to the temple. He says like, I think this is not my path. Or I need a break. Or he might basically become a devotee, chant 16 rounds, get initiated, but then after about 3 or 4 years, there could be a miscommunication or a misunderstanding between this rescuer, who's kind of the preacher, with that devotee, and they might part ways. Now this person will feel so bad that he's put in all this energy to fix his problems, everything, make everything happen for him, but now that person or that devotee has parted ways with him, and then he will start feeling like a victim in that situation, feel like he's been used. So that's why we need to be careful where we put our energy, and we need to be careful of these 3 roles. That's called or it's sometimes called a dreaded drama triangle. Drama means what? It's not true, but then we are actually creating all these fictions. Like the example that you can take is like the Matrix movie, where Neo, who's the main role player, he sees that people think they're actually living a normal life, but they're actually not living. They're actually just running a code. They're in the hub, and what they see as living a normal life is basically just an illusion. Now, in that last, like I don't know which part of the Matrix is for part 1 or part 2, where the famous or the bullet avoiding fight scene comes up, when at that point he's still trying to figure out everything, right? Now at that point, when he sees that, and he sees those people with guns, and then sees all the mess around, then suddenly something clicks to him, that person, the bullet, the gun, his hand, the mess is not real. All that is just a code that's running. And that's when you start to see the code, the Matrix code. And then what happens after that? Every time the bullet was shot, he just moves slowly, and the bullet just avoids him, and then he just has an amazing fight sequence where he kind of defeats them without even breaking a sweat. Now, when we understand this situation, then I said, like when we understand that we are spiritual beings having a material or a human experience, then the things that happen here doesn't look so scary. You kind of think it's just a code that's running. You don't have to be held up. You don't have to be blocked with, constrained by your past, and you have other opportunities to do. Now there's a lot to speak. I've taken a lot of notes, but in interest of time, I'll move on. Now I want you to self-reflect on what is that. These 3 roles. Which role do you fall in? Do you fall in the victim role mostly? Like something bad happens, unfair happens, you immediately start seeing yourself as a victim, or do you see something as you feel that if I don't control the situation, if I don't put my weight on the situation, then things will go bad. So I need to put my control over it. I need to be demanding. I need to have my say. And if what I think doesn't happen, then I think things will break down. Are you mostly a persecutor? Or are you usually jump into the role of a rescuer? Now these roles can change, right? I'll give you some examples of it. But we usually kind of jump into one of these roles subconsciously, unknowingly, because if all these 3 roles, there is some psychological need that's been met. Like how if you have a feast, you have a buffet, you have Mahaprasad, or you have Vyasa Puja, celebration happen, you have a lot of food, but you choose certain food, right? You want to go for the paneer item, you want to go for the roti, you want to go for a specific dish that you like, and you leave some of the other dishes. No, why is that? Because we feel that if I eat that dish, I'll feel my hunger will go. But no, not really. You can eat any of the dishes, and your hunger will go. It's not that only if you eat those dishes, your hunger is going to be satisfied. So, but we choose them because we want a psychological need that needs to be met. Oh my God, I want to eat that cake, or I want to eat that bread, or that a special dish, that pie, or that lasagna, or the pizza or pasta. I don't want to eat the rice, I can eat it at home. But if all is gone, then you eat, but then there's something is missing. The psychological or the psychological need is not met. So it's the same thing. Now, before we move to the other one, to explain how crazy this can happen, I'll just give you another example. Now, let's take a situation where a mother who is kind of, let's say, emotionally not mature, and she's more of a controlling person, okay? And she wants things to happen in her own way at home, and things like that. Now let's say there are 3 kids in the family. Now this mother would basically want things to happen the way it happens. But sometimes, let's see how we think about it. Now let the mother be the persecutor. Now let's say there are other siblings. Okay, let's say there's another elder sibling, and that sibling is kind of doesn't like the way the mother treating them, so they actually fight back. They rebel. They try to they cross all the boundaries, smash all the boundaries. If something is said, they don't do it, and they know even if they do it, it's not going to satisfy this man. She's going to be more and more demanding. So they kind of understood that. Elder siblings, teenagers, they do it. So you might feel that this person, that the teenager, would be the victim, and then because this mother is actually forcing things on the teenager. Now there could be a younger sibling or younger member of the family who doesn't like conflict. He doesn't want the mother to get angry, and he doesn't want the teenager to be rebelling back. So it kind of plays in between the mother and the teenager and says, Mom, don't worry, what you're doing is fine, it'll all be fine, should be fine. And the teenager, and it comes to the teenager, don't do that to Mom, you know that it's actually irritating her, don't do that, why do you keep doing that, and things like that. Now what happens here is this younger sibling, what she's doing, because she's small, but just for example, she's basically not trying to tell her mom in a way that help her mom understand what she's doing is wrong. She's still validating what her mom is doing is right. And she's also basically telling her teenage sisters to calm down, but they're not doing. So because the teenagers are basically rebelling against the mom, what actually happens is the mother feels like she's the victim, because the teenagers are not listening to her, and she's not able to control them, and she feels that the teenagers are actually the persecutors or the aggressors. Now, what the teenagers are doing is, in the counseling terms, they say they are actually understanding the nature of a mom, that she's not going to be satisfied and is going to be more demanding. They are using that opposition or going against her as a mode or a coping mechanism of self-care. But the younger sibling, who doesn't want, or let's say rescuer or younger sibling or whoever it is, rescuer doesn't understand that what this mother is doing is wrong, and then tries to fix the problem rather than educating and facilitating, fix the problem, and doesn't go anywhere. Now, this is a crazy situation where the mother thinks she's a victim, and the aggressor or the persecutor is the teenage kid, and the younger sibling is the rescuer, because the younger sibling is quite obedient, and the mother goes to the younger sibling for rescue because emotionally she doesn't get the emotional needs are not met by these kids, so she goes there, and then went out here. Now see how crazy the drama triangle can become. Sometimes within relationships, we might have this argument where one person in the relationship could be aggressor, and then another person might feel like the victim. But then after some time, if the persecutor or the person who you feel is actually oppressing you keeps doing it, what do you do? When you chase a cat, the cat will run, because the cat has no other goal. You're really big. But let's say the cat hits a dead wall. Now it has nowhere to go. Now the cat will turn back and will try to defend itself. It'll at least show its teeth. Ah! So now the person whom you are chasing, right? You will feel, oh my God, I'm the victim now. The cat is going to pounce on me. I need to find help. Now if somebody comes and tells you that, how can the cat do that? That's so unfair. That's so unfair. It can't do that. Then you'll feel like somebody is actually validating you. If somebody comes in, why do you have to chase the cat? The cat's going on his way, why don't you go the other way? Don't jump into the triangle. You jumped into you're part of the drama triangle because you chased the cat. And the cat has no means to actually escape now. So it's defending. So these roles keep changing. So you see how we actually put ourselves in the triangle. So this is where it happens. Now, coming out of the triangle is where it's easy, but as well as it depends some rewiring of our the way we have been thinking. So let's put the same triangle. So each roles of the triangle has another antidote personality, the way we can think. Now, for the victim, you need to be a creator. Or, in other words, so this is the victim, okay? You be vulnerable. So now it's the persecutor and this is the rescuer. Now creator, when you see be vulnerable, you can come to this point where, yes, I don't know what to do. I can't take decisions and I understand that I'm struggling. So you can actually take a step to actually confide to a friend or a family member, or in serious cases you might have to go for professional therapeutic help. But the main thing is taking responsibility for the problem and asking for help. Now the victim, is already feeling a victim, so he feels that he's helpless. And he goes to somebody. Have you seen scenarios where somebody comes for help to you and then you tell something to them, but they don't want to hear that? They hear you or they're listening to you, but they're not hearing what you're saying. They don't want to make any change in their life, but they want someone to just jump into their life and then, in a magic, take away all the issues in their life. Now that won't happen. So that's a victim mentality. They don't take responsibility. Now the creator, he needs to ask help with this mentality that it's totally fine to feel incapable and not knowing what to do or how to handle situations. Okay? With that thing, I need help. I need somebody to guide me. Now, when you're a victim, if you change this attitude to a creator attitude, way of thinking, or what they call as orientation, or the creative mindset, then what you expect from the other person is not a magic. You're expecting some guidance so that you can actually make things work. Because you want to feel empowered. It's all about empowering. In the other cycle, victim, prosecutor and rescuer, nobody is empowering. Even the rescuer might feel he's doing his best, nobody is listening to him. So he becomes a victim and he goes to another person. And for the rescuer, that's the only thing that's feeding his ego. But here, with this creative mindset, you're looking for, I want to take responsibility for what I do. So let me get help to make that happen. The worst thing that you can do is throw up your hands in the air and expect a miracle to happen by someone. Now, the persecutor, the antidote personality is basically a challenger. So, a creator would see the situation not as a persecutor he'll see that as a challenge. And there could be two kinds of challengers. One is a constructive one. Another one is a non-constructive one. Non-constructive challenger. Now, a constructive challenger or a challenger, what he does is, so let's say, if you identify yourself in your self-reflection that I'm kind of a persecutor, right? I just keep trying to push my idea in. I just want everything to happen my way. I think I'm a controller. Now, the thing is, like, how can I change being there? Because you're always going to be seen as a persecutor. Then everybody around you, you feel that nobody wants to hang out with you. Nobody wants to be around you. So, what is that you can change? Now, what you can change is basically you can, instead of demanding, you can just ask questions. If you have any concerns, ask questions. Ask them to explain. Okay, you say you want to do it this way. Tell me how is it right? Try to negotiate. And sometimes, if nothing works, you can say, okay, I'll keep my side of the deal until and unless you keep your side of the deal. So, I'm not going to interfere in you. I see that you have a different way of doing it, but all I want is the end result is this. This is what I want. And you have to do it the way you want it, but I want it to be done in 3 days or like 1 week. And that's how you do it is not my concern. But then it has to be done, then my side of the deal will work. So, something like that. And the difference between a constructive challenger and a non-constructive challenger is, a constructive challenger is the best example if you could take for a teenager is like if their parents. So their parents, they don't want their kids to go haywire and lose track. I'm just saying, you can see as an example, they are quite restrictive or demanding because they have the good intent, in the well-wishing, with well-wishing mentality. So, if you're a teenager, let's say, if you have a creator mentality, if you have a parent and you see them, they're not actually persecutors. They don't want to suppress me. They're not here to make my life be bad. They're actually trying to be a constructive challenger. They want to challenge me. They want me to improve, and they want me to move forward. Now, a non-constructive challenger, he could be, again, it could be a person, could be a situation, or it could be a natural disaster, natural happening. Now, this is a very unwelcomed person or unwelcomed situation in your life, right? Now, let's say you change jobs. You have a pretty good job. You have a very nice thing. So, a new job gives you a bit more money. You choose the job. Now, the whole situation of the job is really hectic. And the boss is really a demon. Now, what do? Now, you left a job was paid a bit less, but you had a good work-life balance, you had a good team to work with, understanding boss, but then now this is a non-constructive challenger. Instead of seeing him as a demon, you see him as a non-constructive challenger. Now, this non-constructive challenger also has some hidden gifts, which if we have the clarity and maturity to that. So, non-constructive challenger, what he does is, because you put in this uncomfortable situation, you actually can understand, if I be in his position, I will never treat somebody under me like that. It can be a catalyst for learning. And you can also think that it will also make you self-reflect and think, what is that you really want in your life? Like sometimes you feel that you want just money. Like, okay, you had this nice job, but oh my God, this guy is paying at 10K more. But then you will sometimes think, is that really what I want? Is that for more, just for more money? Do I want to actually struggle this hard? No, what is that I really want in my life? So there are so many learnings that can come out of that non-constructive challenger, who is basically not your friend. He is basically making your life hard. But then the learning, if you, instead of that, the victim mindset, if you look at from the creator mindset, you see that person is actually trying to teach you. And think about it, the reason why we came to Krishna conscious, we all had something going wrong in our life, or Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that most of the people who come to Krishna conscious or reach me is distress. The first person is distress. So that distress actually pushed us into Krishna consciousness. So that's a good thing. That distress is not a bad thing then. So that is a non-constructive challenger situation that actually pushed us into taking up Krishna conscious. We felt everything negative about our life, about the situation, the material world and everything. We were looking for an alternative, positive alternative, and we ended up in Krishna consciousness. Right? So non-constructive challenges are uninvited situations of people or circumstances like the pandemic here. But they can actually teach you. If you are ready to learn, they can teach you a lot. Now, from the rescuer, the antidote personality for the rescuer is the coach. So if you want to bring it close to home, he would be the mentor. Now the first qualification of this coach or the mentor is he should be in this creative mindset. If he's there in the common drama triangle of being the victim and he thinks he's a victim and blah blah blah, if it's in the victim mindset, it never works. That's where it becomes like the vicious circle of birth and death. So he has to be in that creator mindset. Now, his focus should be caring. Whereas, for the rescuer, he would be helping. Oh, he has a problem, there I am. I want to jump in and help. Caring. So what's the difference between caring and rescuing? Caring is more of listening rather than suggesting. So caring versus helping or rescuing is about showing the other person respect by validating their emotions. Somebody might come and say that I feel bad, I feel this devotee. Understand, okay, yes, I understand you, that instead of saying, why should you feel like that? I think you have an attitude problem. Or, oh yeah, that person is wrong. How could he do that? Instead of saying that, you can say, this is something that we covered in the training material as well, how the active listening and responding. Valid, oh my God, that's so bad. I would feel the same if I were in a situation. So how did you feel? What feelings did it invoke in you? That's really bad. So then you, instead of giving them a solution, instead of jumping to fix a solution, you assist them in finding their solution by themselves. You ask them, so what do you think happened wrong there? If you have to replay the same scenario, what could have you done differently? Or, so what is the learning from that you had? So, and you ask that questions to probe, to explore their feelings and see what they want to come. And in other words, help them take responsibility for the situation. In this way, you will not be fueling the drama triangle. Now, this coach is a very important person. And this coach, also, he understands that he's not perfect. Right? And he also gets mentored or coached by another person. Just like disciplic succession. Just as similar as how our Guru Maharajas have their Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada has a spiritual master, and the spiritual master goes all the way to Lord Krishna. If you're a mentor, doesn't mean like you know everything. You are not perfect. Just because you're given that position, it means you're not perfect. Just because you're given a position of a temple president or a management role, that means that you don't have the right to actually go around and boss around devotees and make things happen the way you want to happen. No. It's about learning, understanding, and also helping each other. Now it's very important. Now I'll just read out. What's the time? Yeah. So I'll just understand, because for us the mentor is the most important role that we are actually looking at. If that person is, the person whom you're going for help is giving you the right advice, then it makes things a lot easier. So this rescuer, he actually draws power from the victim, because he wants, the victim feeds his ego of the helper. But a mentor will seek how, he'll just be a facilitator. He will not be an enabler. He'll be just a facilitator for the person to change. And he will leave the power to stay with the Creator. He would just help them. He will not grab the power. He will not say, I'll come fix it. Okay? And this person, the rescuer in the drama triangle, he thinks somebody who comes to him, he has to fix the person or the situation, which is not good. And this here, he thinks he just needs to guide the person to get his own situation. And the coach would help the person to see new possibilities which the Creator might not know, and help him in actually achieving. He will dare for him to dream. That's very important. So the Creator, he's basically, if you see a mentor, he's full of knowledge, right? He's full of knowledge, or in the sense like not like Krishna, but then he knows more than the person who's coming there to get help. He's full of knowledge, but he shouldn't suggest a solution. He wouldn't do that. He would just use that knowledge to question, to probe, to explore, and ask him questions, so that the person, the Creator, or the person, if it's you or the Creator, you have a problem, you're going to mentor, you actually come up with a solution. So you own the solution. So the difference between the coach and the rescuer is, he will look in fixing it. Now the coach would say, I am there for you, no matter what. So that's a big difference. He's there as a trusted friend. The coach can be a trusted friend as well. Mentors are supposed to be those really close, your close friends, so whom you can actually open up anything about yourself, your life, your situation, so that you feel comfortable that he's not going to tell this to everyone. So that's very important. So the coach, he should be caring rather than helping. Caring means listening. He should be a facilitator. The power still remains with the creator, with you. He should guide you. He should explore. Because of his knowledge, you should try to explore new possibilities. He should dare you to dream bigger. And then he should or shouldn't have, he shouldn't give a solution. Shouldn't give a solution. And he should be there for you no matter what, without judging you. It's not that you come with the same problem a couple of times, this guy doesn't listen. This guy doesn't have any brains. I keep telling him, I'm trying to tell all these Shastric quotes and he just still doesn't want to get that. That's not what they need when you come on that personal level. Now, that's a high level rundown. Now, I will actually touch base into how we can actually help ourselves in actually getting into this, getting into this victim mindset. Okay. Now, one of the very easiest things that we have that can stop us from getting into the victim mindset is our language. Our language, and it's called, if you use those empowering languages, then we can understand that we have more choice. Now let's have this thing. So start to use the word choose in your vocabulary more. I'll tell you how. So when we say, I ran out of time, how does it feel? It is clearly a victim mindset. It suggests that I am a victim of time. I didn't have enough time. It sucks, but it's not my fault. Yeah? And you think that you're off the hook. Now let's replace that with something else. I choose to set my alarm. I choose not to set my alarm early. Or I choose to spend time on other things. So when you say this, instead of sorry, I ran out of time, or I say I choose not to set my alarm early, or I choose not to plan appropriately. So this gives you control. So this says you're taking responsibility, you're taking ownership, you're not getting in the victim thing, and you're not putting the time or traffic. You say, sorry, I was late because of traffic. And you can choose to say, sorry, I did not plan for the traffic. Sorry, I'm late because I didn't plan for the traffic. Or sorry, I didn't finish. You don't have to choose, but I didn't finish the previous appointment at the right time. I went overtime. That's why I'm late. So that means you're taking responsibility. And this states that you are in control of spending your own time. So that's very important. So that's a victim mindset or victim way of saying. This is a creator way of saying. I'll give you some other examples. You can say, this is the only job I could get. You can replace that by, I choose to work here. You can say, I hate this job. Instead of that, you can say, I'm choosing to stay here. And you can say, I can't seem to get my eating under control. Instead of that, you can say, I keep choosing to overeat. So these ones, all these empowering languages makes us understand that we have We have far more choices in our lives than we actually believe. Again, we might not have control over everything, like for example COVID or some situations like we lost a job just because the company wants to restructure because of cost cutting. We might, but using this creator thing, we will understand that we have more control than what we think. Now, Ranath Maharaj says a very nice quote which I keep reminding, like, miseries come automatically. Miseries just come to you. But whether suffering is just your choice. So you can choose to suffer, or you can say, no, I don't want to. I'm going to just... When you choose to suffer, then you go into the victim triangle, the drama triangle. But when you choose, I'm not going to suffer, I'm going to see how I can be a creator. Okay, I lost a job, what can I do? You have all the freedom. I'm going to touch base on another thing, how when something wrong happens, what are 3 steps that you can actually do to come out of it. But eventually, it needs to about taking some steps. It might be just as a creator, you're going to ask your coach, you call to your bank and reduce your mortgage payment for some time, or you try to do something temporary for the time being and things like that. And you see that losing the job as a non-constructive situation has happened, and instead of seeing that's unfairly that life is dealt to you, you can see that that's a challenge. Let me see how I can handle that. So that's eventually the drama triangle. You can go search in YouTube karma and drama triangle. There are a number of videos and a number of TED Talks as well around this one, which is quite helpful. So the reason for me to selecting that is the most important thing is the coach, which is the mentor. A mentor has to have this character. He should not feel that helping people is my duty. He should be a person where I can be the facilitator, that the responsibility or the power lies with the person. In that way, he can actually take care of himself as well. So here, because he's not perfect, he's in this creator mentality or creator orientation, he has a balance of caring and self-help, or self-care, you can say. So his sadhana or his spiritual practice or his reading or his time with the family and everything is intact while you're actually caring for other people. I would like to just finish up by bringing a very a personal example so that see how it actually is played out. So for example, we had a recent scenario in our house. So where I was doing the mentorship program, a lot of work, and then I had other, as you know, I have other responsibilities as well. So Sunday school, we need to start the Sunday school. So my wife was saying, you seem to have too much things on your plate. I think you should drop something off. I think you should stop taking Sunday school. So then I didn't want to do that. So I didn't want to do that. So then I kind of thought about it. Now, if I was in a victim mindset, I would think that my wife, who's asking me to stop taking Sunday school, is actually a persecutor. And I would start seeing her as that demon, or like this person is trying to, is not letting me do the things that I like to do. And what I would do, I would go to a person or a friend or someone who, if that person is basically having a proper creator mentality, then he would explain to me in a much better way. But if he's in a rescuer mode, in the victim mindset, he would say, how is that? Why is she coming in, interfering in things that you want to do? And then it just goes on and on and on. Now I saw that situation, instead of being a victim, I thought, because I've been reading and I was just being aware, like, well, how can I apply the situation? Then I said, let me go into a creative situation. So I thought, what is that she's saying? She's trying to make me, instead of spreading my energy in a lot of things, she's asked me to focus on something which is more important, which for me was the mentorship program and making its implementation. And I have others due service as well. But she's actually trying to be more constructive, more thing. And then her concern is that I need to spend more time with the family as well. So, and given the choice whether do you want to leave this service or that service, I thought Sunday school is something that I think. And then I felt something. Another thing that I wanted to share is, so with Sunday school, I used to take for, me and Prana Prabhu used to take for 8 to 11-year-old kids, right? So in here, there's about, let's say, 30 kids there. Now in these 30 kids, there are about 25 kids who are actually, whose parents are practicing Krishna conscious. And there are about 5 or 6 kids whose parents are not practicing devotees. So when we went into the COVID situation, what happened is that I felt that initially we started the thing online. So we started to take class in Zoom, and because we didn't have any resources, I was taking class for the 30 kids. And we were talking about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all these other things like pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and pastimes of Advaita Acharya, all these things. And then I was, inside me, the whole term I was thinking, these kids, they know Krishna as, they know Krishna as God, but they don't know that He's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They don't even know, I don't know if they understand who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. Now I'm telling pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's relationship, or pastime with Gadadhar, Nityananda Prabhu and all these great personalities. For me, it was like, do they even understand who Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is? So that was a big question mark. So then I had to split these 30 kids into 2 different groups, and I asked Manibhushta Mataji and Malabika Mataji to actually give classes to these kids in the last term of last year, and I was taking for these 5 kids. Now when my wife actually asked me to stop taking that, the one thing, because I was being aware of this thing, I felt I was actually feeling, or I am the rescuer of these 5 kids. What will happen to these 5 kids if I don't take class? Because they are new, they want to be nourished, they need to be, it has to be in a very fun way, and then they need to enjoy the class. So I'm there, I'm the one who's doing it. So how is that my wife is stopping me? So I can basically put my wife in this persecutor bucket. But knowing this, I feel that, no, I'm not the rescuer. If I come into the creative, I'm a coach. I need to facilitate their growth. I am not the only person to do it. So if there's only 5 people, and during this thing we got some more teachers, and so there are 3 teachers here, or 4 teachers here. So initially we had 2 for this one and then 2 for here. So we thought if we can just combine this into again 30, then you got 3 teachers for this group. So they have more flexibility, and I already have other services, and my plate is full. So why don't I just facilitate that and then leave decision to how they want to take it. And I just told my concerns to them that this is my concern. They don't know about about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or anything. They're not chanting as such. Their parents are not devotees. So whatever course that you're taking, you can bring it down, make it more simpler according to level of understanding. And they said, okay, fine. We will, whatever we take, we will actually kind of mellow it down, and then we make sure that those kids get opportunity to speak as well, because sometimes the other kids might know the answer, so they're always enthusiastic to say. So in that way, it got resolved. Without going into the drama triangle, we actually solved in a creative mindset, and issues did not blow out. But if the victim thing, it would have blown out, it'll be like finger pointing, blaming. So this is something that I want to say as a personal example, how when I applied this in my life, it actually helped choose the right way in a more amicable fashion. So, thank you very much for your time. This is just an overview. There are a lot of information, but I'll try to continue something along these lines. There is another scenario as well, which we'll continue in the next class that I take. Hare Krishna. Thank you for your attention. Shri Radha Gopinath ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai.